Fred Astaire was a true legend of the golden age of Hollywood, captivating audiences with his effortless grace and spellbinding dance moves. From his early days as a vaudeville performer to his iconic partnership with Ginger Rogers, Astaire wowed the world with his talent and charm. Yet, behind the glitz and glamour of his public persona, there was a hidden side to Astaire's life that few knew about. In this tragic ending story, we delve deep into the private world of one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, exploring the challenges he faced both on and off screen, and the heartbreaking events that marked the end of his remarkable life. Join us on a journey through the hidden life of Fred Astaire as we uncover the man behind the myth and celebrate his enduring legacy. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Frederick Austerlitz who was born in Omaha, Nebraska on May 10, 1899. He was the son of an Austrian immigrant who hailed from Vienna. Frederick had an older sister named Adele who was 18 months older than him. Adele showed a keen interest in dancing from a very young age and began taking dance lessons. Despite his initial reluctance, Frederick started to accompany her and soon discovered his natural talent for dancing. In 1904, their father lost his job and the family moved to New York in search of better opportunities for their children's education. In New York, Frederick and Adele were enrolled in a performing arts school that specialized in modern tap dancing, singing, and acting. After less than a year of training, the young siblings gave their first professional performance on stage in New Jersey in November 1905. As their professional careers began to take shape, Frederick and Adele decided to change their name to the more English-sounding Astaire. This would help them as they pursued their passion for dance and entertainment. Once Frederick and Adele Astaire had shown their promise as dancers, they began to fulfill it over the next decade. They worked tirelessly to become a skilled and stylish pairing, performing in vaudeville shows across the United States on the Orpheum circuit. As their expertise grew and their repertoire expanded, the siblings graduated to Broadway in 1917. They made their debut in a show called Over the Top, and quickly gained a reputation for their ability to incorporate new dance styles into their performances, such as the tango and tap. Their popularity soared, and they became well-known celebrities, constantly seeking to broaden their knowledge and perfect their craft. By the 1920s, their fame had spread across the Atlantic, and they frequently appeared on the London stage as well as on Broadway. They starred in shows like George and Ira Gershwin's Lady Be Good in 1924, Funny Face in 1927, and The Bandwagon in 1931. Despite their success, Adele decided to retire in 1932 after marrying an English aristocrat, Lord Charles Cavendish. With Adele's retirement, the brother-sister partnership came to an end, and Frederick Astaire embarked on a new chapter in his career. He appeared alone in his last Broadway show, Gay Divorce, before his independent future beckoned him to Hollywood. In 1932, Frederick Astaire's partnership with his sister Adele came to an end. That same year, he decided to give a screen test for RKO, hoping to begin a new chapter in his career. Despite a report that labeled him as can't act, slightly bald, also dances, RKO recognized his talent and signed him up. Fred's personal life also changed as he married Phyllis Livingston Potter, a New York socialite, in 1933. Fred and his new wife moved to Hollywood, where he began work on his first movie under the RKO contract. In 1933, Flying Down to Rio made history and introduced Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers on screen together for the first time. Although the actual stars of the movie were Dolores Del Rio and Gene Raymond, it was Fred and Ginger's rendition of the karaoke that stole the show. This movie marked the beginning of a legendary partnership between Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, which would lead to some of the most beloved and iconic dance numbers in film history. Once Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers were paired in Flying Down to Rio in 1933, the public demanded more of their chemistry. RKO put them together again in The Gay Divorcee, a remake of Fred's earlier stage success, which was released in 1934. The pair became Hollywood's most famous partnership, and they went on to make a total of 9 films together during the 1930s. These films included masterpieces such as Top Hat in 1935, Follow the Fleet and Swing Time in 1936, and Carefree in 1938. During this time, Ginger continued to perform without Fred in comedies and solo musicals. Astaire, on the other hand, made only one film without Ginger, Damsel in Distress in 1937 with Joan Fontaine. Unfortunately, this movie was one of the few Astaire movies that lost money at the box office. Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers were one of Hollywood's most iconic dance partnerships of the 1930s, making a total of 9 films together. However, after 1940, they were ready to go their separate ways. Ginger became one of RKO's hottest stars in the early 1940s, winning a Best Actress Oscar for her performance in Kitty Foyle in 1941. Meanwhile, Fred continued to make movie musicals with different partners, including Eleanor Powell, Rita Hayworth, and Lucille Bremer. In 1945, Fred starred in Ziegfeld Follies, which featured The Babbitt and The Bromide, danced by Astaire, partnered by Gene Kelly for the first and only time. However, the relative box office failure of Yolanda and the Thief caused Fred to seriously consider retirement. Once again, Fred Astaire came out of retirement in 1948 to replace Gene Kelly in Irving Berlin's Easter Parade alongside Judy Garland. The movie was a critical and financial success, which gave Fred the confidence to continue making great musicals for the next decade. In the following years, Fred partnered with different leading ladies, starting with Ginger Rogers in 1949 for the Barclays of Broadway. He continued with Jane Powell in Royal Wedding 1951, Sid Charisse in The Bandwagon 1953 and Silk Stockings 1957, Leslie Caron in Daddy Longlegs 1955, and Audrey Hepburn in Funny Face 1957. However, in the middle of this period of creativity, Phyllis, Fred's wife of 21 years, passed away due to cancer. Despite his heartbreak, Fred continued working and announced his retirement from dancing after Funny Face to focus on an acting career. Fred's appearance in the 1959 nuclear war drama On the Beach received high praise, and he continued making appearances mainly on television, but also in 7 more movies, including Finian's Rainbow in 1968 and The Towering Inferno in 1974, which earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. In the mid-1970s, Fred appeared in the first 2 That's Entertainment MGM movie documentaries, showcasing a number of song and dance routines he performed with Gene Kelly. These were his last dancing performance in a musical film. Fred Astaire's retirement from dancing after Funny Face in 1957 did not mean he had completely given up on the art form. Between 1958 and 1968, he produced 4 musical television specials with partner Barry Chase. All 4 specials received awards, but the first one, An Evening with Fred Astaire, won 9 Emmy Awards, including Best Single Performance by an Actor and Most Outstanding Single Program of the Year. In his personal life, Fred received numerous awards and tributes during his career, although he never won an Oscar. In 1950, Ginger Rogers presented him with an honorary Academy Award for his unique artistry and his contributions to the technique of musical pictures. In 1960, he won the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Award for Lifetime Achievement in Motion Pictures. Fred's success continued in 1975 when he won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor, as well as BAFTA and David Di Donatello Awards, all for his role in The Towering Inferno. In 1981, he received the American Film Institute's prestigious Life Achievement Award. His style was characterized by its lightness, great control, and sense of rhythm. He drew inspiration from a variety of sources, including ballet, tap, and Latin American dance. In order to create his routines, he would spend a great deal of time planning, often with the help of other choreographers, most notably Hermes Pan. The result was always a dazzling and unforgettable dance sequence full of wit, grace, and charm. In 1933, Fred married Phyllis Livingston Potter. She had a son from a previous marriage, Peter, and together she and Fred had 2 children, Fred Jr., who became a charter pilot and rancher, and Ava Astaire McKenzie, who actively promoted her late father's image and heritage. Unfortunately, Phyllis passed away in 1955 from lung cancer, leaving Fred a widower. Despite his loss, Fred continued to dance and entertain audiences for many more years, remaining an unattached widower until 1980, when he married for the second time to Robin Smith. Robin, who was almost 45 years his junior, was an ex-actress turned jockey who shared his passion for racehorses. Sadly, on June 22, 1987, Fred Astaire passed away from pneumonia in Los Angeles at the age of 88. He was buried at Oakwood Memorial Park in Chatsworth, California, alongside his first wife Phyllis, his sister Adele, and his mother. His legacy lived on through his children and the countless fans who continue to appreciate his artistry and contribution to dance and film. Rest in peace, Fred Astaire. Goodbye to a true legend.